Stray mother dog and her puppy rescued during heavy snowstorm. It was 11 p.m. when we got the call. A mother dog and her puppy were trapped in a snowstorm, temperatures dropping to deadly levels. We had maybe 2 hours before hypothermia would set in. What we found when we arrived, I'll never forget it for the rest of my life. This is their story. It started with a message from a truck driver named Marcus. He was making a late-night delivery through the industrial district when he spotted something moving near an abandoned warehouse. At first, he thought it was just debris blowing in the wind. But then he heard it. A sound that cut through the howling storm, a desperate, haunting cry. Marcus pulled over, grabbed his flashlight, and trudged through knee-deep snow. That's when he saw her. A German Shepherd mix, her fur matted and frozen, standing guard over something small huddled beneath her. A puppy barely 8 weeks old. The mother dog's eyes met Marcus's flashlight beam, and he said they weren't aggressive, they were pleading. She was too weak to run, too exhausted to fight. She'd given everything she had just to keep her baby warm. Marcus immediately called our rescue hotline. His voice was shaking when he said, "Please hurry, I don't think they have much time." Within 15 minutes, our team was geared up and heading into the storm. The forecast was catastrophic. 8 inches of fresh snow, wind chills at -15 degrees, visibility near zero. Sarah, our lead rescuer, grabbed the emergency medical kit. I loaded warming blankets and a portable heater into the van. We both knew that every second counted. When we arrived at the location Marcus had sent us, the scene was heartbreaking. The mother dog had dragged herself and her puppy under a collapsed section of corrugated metal, a makeshift shelter that was doing almost nothing against the brutal cold. She was shivering so violently that we could see it from 20 feet away. The puppy wasn't moving at all. Sarah approached slowly, speaking in soft, calm tones. "Hey, Mama, we're here to help. We're going to get you both somewhere warm." The mother dog's response shocked us. Instead of cowering or growling, she looked directly at Sarah and let out a single, weak bark. Then she gently nudged her puppy toward us with her nose. She was asking us to save her baby first. Sarah wrapped the puppy in a warming blanket immediately. The little one was ice cold to the touch, barely breathing. We later learned her body temperature had dropped to a critical 85 degrees. The mother was just as urgent. Her paws were cracked and bleeding from walking on ice. Her ribs were visible through her thin coat. She clearly hadn't eaten in days, maybe weeks. Everything she'd consumed had gone to producing milk for her puppy. We wrapped her in blankets and carried both dogs to the van, where the heater was already running full blast. The mother kept her eyes on her puppy the entire time, even as her own body was shutting down from exhaustion. The drive to our emergency clinic felt like hours, though it was only 12 minutes. Sarah held the puppy against her chest, trying to transfer body heat while I drove through the blinding snow. In the back, our volunteer Jake stayed with the mother dog. He told us later that she never closed her eyes, not once. She just kept watching her baby, making sure she was okay. When we arrived at the clinic, Dr. Chen was waiting. She took one look at both dogs and immediately called in her whole staff. This wasn't just a rescue anymore. This was a fight for 2 lives. The puppy, who we named Hope, was hypothermic and severely malnourished. Her little body was so cold that the thermometer couldn't even get an accurate reading at first. Dr. Chen set up warming IVs and oxygen support while we gently massaged her tiny limbs to encourage circulation. The mother dog, we called her Grace, was in even worse shape. Beyond the hypothermia and starvation, she had an infected wound on her hind leg, likely from barbed wire. She'd been walking on it for who knows how long, leaving a trail of blood in the snow. But here's what broke all of us that night. Even as Dr. Chen tried to treat Grace's wounds, the mother dog kept pulling away, trying to get to the warming table where Hope was lying. She wasn't concerned about her own pain. She needed to see her baby. So we did something we don't usually do. We moved Hope's warming station right next to Grace's treatment area. The moment that puppy was within reach, Grace stretched out her neck and touched her nose to Hope's tiny head. That's when Hope opened her eyes for the first time since we'd found her. The room went silent. Dr. Chen had tears streaming down her face. Sarah was openly crying. Even Jake, who'd been doing rescue work for 15 years, had to step outside for a moment. A mother's love had literally brought her baby back from the edge. The next 72 hours were critical. Both dogs needed round-the-clock monitoring, medications, and careful refeeding. Grace's infected leg required surgery and antibiotics. But something remarkable happened. As Grace began to heal, so did Hope. It was as if they were drawing strength from each other. By day 3, Hope was walking, wobbly and unsure, but walking. She'd curl up against Grace's belly and nurse, and you could see the relief in Grace's eyes every single time. Grace herself was a warrior. Despite everything she'd been through, despite the pain from her surgery, she never once snapped or showed aggression. She seemed to understand that we were helping. One morning, about a week into their recovery, something beautiful happened. Grace stood up, stretched for the first time without limping, and then did something we never expected. She walked over to Sarah and rested her head against Sarah's leg. Just stood there, leaning into her, tail wagging slowly. It was a thank you. Clear as day. We've rescued hundreds of animals, but moments like that, that's why we do this work. That's what makes every freezing night, every emergency call, every heartbreak worth it. Today, I'm incredibly happy to tell you that both Grace and Hope are thriving. After 6 weeks in our care, they were ready for adoption. We made it clear that they needed to be adopted together. Separating them was simply not an option. Within 48 hours of posting their story, we received over 300 applications. People from all over the country wanted to give these survivors the home they deserved. We chose a family with a large, fenced yard and 2 children who'd been asking for a dog for years. When Grace and Hope met them for the first time, Hope immediately started playing with the kids, and Grace sat down with a contented sigh, as if she knew her journey was finally over. The family sends us updates every week. Grace loves lying in the sun by the back door. Hope, now fully grown and healthy, is the most playful, energetic dog you've ever seen. You'd never know she almost didn't make it. And Grace, she still watches over her daughter, but now from the comfort of a warm bed, with a full belly, and surrounded by people who love them both. Grace and Hope's story reminds us why this work matters. Somewhere right now, there's another dog in the cold, another puppy fighting to survive, another mother protecting her baby with everything she has left. If this story touched your heart, please consider supporting your local animal rescue. Subscribe to our channel to see more rescues like this one. And if you see an animal in distress, please make the call. You could save a life. Thank you for watching. Until next time, keep being the voice for those who can't speak for themselves.